Howdy folks, it's Matthew, your friendly neighborhood technician, making another video for you out of the Boise, Idaho area. And if you follow my channel, you'll know that this is the blue Honda that we started replacing the engine on. We have finished replacing the engine, and now basically I've been going through just getting all the little gremlins and bugs out and all that other good stuff. One of the issues I had upon initial first startup was a misfire in one of the cylinders here. That turned out, I was worried about that actually for a little bit. I was like, you got to be kidding me. I got a misfire in this thing now. That turned out to be a bad ignition coil out of the box. So got that fixed up. Then there's just been, just tiny little gremlins here and there and stuff and all that other good stuff. Definitely not like calling anybody out or saying anything, but as I went in to replace this engine, I really started realizing that, bottom line is the car was never really properly taken care of. I found a lot of issues, a lot of gremlins, a lot of things, minor tidbit things, rotten hoses, rotten wire harnesses, just a ton of wear and tear. So it wasn't just a straight engine swap. A ton of extra work, so no big deal. That's what I do. I make sure that every little tidbit thing is covered, is done, and all that other good stuff. So got her up and running, had some issues with misfires and check engine lights, just kind of going back through, replacing little gaskets, O-rings, hoses, little things here and there, salvaging what we can and replacing brand new what we can. Then I get her up and running for a final good test drive, and as I'm driving it, I hear, this sound coming from the front end, and I look. As you can see, I got a brand new sway bar link here, and when I brought it back to the shop after taking it for that test drive, the sway bar link had broken, which the next thing to do on this Honda is going to be suspension. It's pretty bad. I'm trying to see if I can turn the flash on. It's definitely rotten. You can see it's cracked and rotten. It's not fully broken yet, but yeah, it's pretty bad in there. So the next thing to do will definitely be control arms and stuff like that. And so yeah, suspension. But that sway bar link broke, so I did that. Got that fixed up this past weekend, and in doing so, I had to cut. Because it broke, I didn't have anything to grab onto the nut with, basically. So that nut was just spinning on a busted stud in there. So I had to cut it out. So in order to do that, I had to remove the axle again so I could get in there and get the space I need. So pretty much halfway suspension job all over again. Had to pull that axle and all that out. So got all that out and all that other good stuff. And so now it is time to go ahead and replace the transmission fluid that we lost and get all that done. So when it comes to these Hondas and Honda transmissions, if you're ever wondering about the transmission fluid to use, do you want to use Valvoline or any of that stuff, I do not take any chances with Honda transmissions. And even if you have to order it, go with dealer recommended fluid only. Do not go with aftermarket transmission fluid. Let me see if I can get this to focus for you. And so for your Honda, it's going to be ATF for type Z1 Beck Arnley. Okay. And so ATF type Z1 is most Honda transmissions. So if you want my advice on what type of transmission fluid to use for your Honda, I'd say just go to your dealer and get it from them, even if they have to order it. I don't really like doing transmission fluid for Hondas from like O'Reilly's or just anything aftermarket or anything like that. Get factory and you'll always be good to go. So now it's time. I've got the intake and all that back off so I can get back down in there and get the transmission fluid topped off, get the wheels back on it, and get her back on the road again to make sure all the gremlins are worked out of it and everything is good to go. So that's where I'm at. Now, if you want to know why we replaced this Honda engine, let me show you something cool. That's why that's a piston rod. That is a bent spaghetti. Look, it looks like a spaghetti noodle. Yeah. So that's why I say, I mean, this Honda engine has less than 200,000 miles on it. And when it was time to pull it, I originally couldn't find anything wrong with it whatsoever. It was making the most god-awful noise. And so as you can see, just looking down at the top end of it, it looks clean. It's got a new timing belt on it. It's got new timing gears. I guess it just very recently had the timing redone on it. And so I'm not real sure what happened, but since it had the timing redone on it, it absolutely blew a bearing, spun a bearing, and destroyed a piston. And so right before I replaced the engine, I went ahead and started it, and I said, okay, let's start it and run it and stress it out and see what happens. And so I ran it, stressed it out. You could hear it knocking and slapping it in there, and then all of a sudden, finally, boom! That piston rod literally shot out the end, blew that hole. And I was like, wow, there's your problem right there. It had a bad bearing. Now, I don't know if it was an oil delivery issue or what the final issue was, but I just don't know. The only thing I can come up with is it wasn't taken care of. But here's the catch. Here's an argument that would go against the fact that it might not have been taken care of. And that's the fact that the top half of this engine is actually really clean. You see that? Now the oil is blacker than black. So you can't tell me that the oil's been changed, because this oil in here is blacker than black. So I'm not so sure the oil has been changed. However, for oil not being changed, I've seen a much dirtier engine that's full of gunk and other things. So again, this one just baffles me. So all the evidence kind of shows that maybe the engine wasn't taken care of properly, didn't have proper oil changes and other things, and so it blew a rod. It's just, I don't know how you destroy a Honda engine that it has less than 200,000 miles. So just some interesting stuff there. So alrighty guys, I'm going to go ahead and get back on this now for this weekend, get this one out of here, so then I can get back on this Acura and this C10 that I'm working on, and get those projects out of here and keep moving forward. So alrighty folks, well hey, thanks for coming out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. My main goal for this channel is mainly just to spread automotive information everywhere and anywhere, and also give you guys a place to come and ask questions. It doesn't have to be about the vehicle in particular in this video. If you're just trying to find a forum or a place to go and ask questions, go for it. I've noticed that a lot of the subscribers and a lot of the members of the community are mechanics themselves, and a lot of times other people will also answer your questions if I can't get to you. But I also know that if I shout out to myself right now and say, if you email me or if you send me a message, I have been known, and I know that there's actually quite a few people that would step up here and say, yes, he has called me. I've been known to call people. I've talked with people all across the world. I've emailed people. So if you just need somebody to just, kind of, run an idea by, or just kind of rap with, maybe get some different perspectives on a project you're working on or something you're struggling with, shout out to me, and I'm definitely here for you. So alrighty, folks. Well, this is Matthew, your friendly neighborhood technician, signing off.